All right. So our first presenter is going to be Matthew Wilcox. And I'm going to grab his hand for you. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good morning. My name is Matt Wilhelm, and I'm currently a member of the men's tennis team here at Piedmont. I've been playing tennis since my freshman year of high school, and up until then, I was a basketball player. The reason I started so late was because I was a basketball player, and I wanted to give another sport a try, so I picked up tennis. I've always been interested in the game of tennis, but it was not very popular in my county, so nobody really played. My dad grew up watching and playing tennis, so he basically taught me the fundamentals of the game, so I'll be ready for high school tennis. We both love watching tennis, and on TV we watch some of the great names like Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic, and they've kind of inspired me to pick up the game and try to become the best player I can be. Today, I will talk about some of the rules of tennis, the different shots of the game, and some of the professionals who perfected that shot. So I'll first start with the rules of tennis, and I'd first like to talk about the objective of tennis. So the objective of tennis is to keep the ball within the margins of the rectangular court. A net runs across the center, so you must hit the ball above it, and a point is won when your opponent either cannot return the ball, it's in the net, or outside the rectangular margins. So this is how it's going to work. The game starts at love all, or 0-0. When someone wins a point, it becomes 15 love. When someone wins 2 points, it becomes 30 love. When someone wins 3 points, it becomes 40 love. And if it is 40 all or deuce, the person who can win 2 points in a row will win the game. A person must win 6 games to win a set, and most matches are best 2 out of 3 sets. If it is tied at 5 all, then you must win by 2 games, and if it is tied at 6 all, then you play tiebreak to 7, win by 2 to claim the set. The game is started by a racket spin. So for example, if you're using a Wilson racket, as you can see here, there's a W and on the bottom of the racket, and they'll ask if you want W or M, and the person will choose which one they want, and if they guess correctly, then they have the choice of either serving or receiving first. The game starts with the serve on the deuce side of the court, which is on the right side, and they must serve it into the diagonal box, and after the first point, it will move to the left side and serve it in the other diagonal box. You have 2 attempts to get the serve in, and if you don't get it in those 2 attempts, then the receiver wins the point. And one person serves the entire game, and then the next game the other person serves, and it keeps doing that throughout the match. Unless you are a top-notch player, you must make your own calls on whether your opponent's ball is in or out. If the ball hits the line in any way, the ball is considered to be in. There are doubles lines and singles lines. Whichever one you are playing determines the margins of the playing field. In doubles, the margin makes up the entire rectangle of the court. And for singles, the line slightly comes in to make the playing field smaller. I will next talk about the different shots of tennis. I would first like to talk about the serve, which in my opinion is the most important shot in the game. It begins every point, and a good serve can help a person win a match, and you can get a lot of easy points. This shot requires a grip called the continental grip. And to find this grip, you hold the racket as if you were about to hit a nail into the ground with the side of your racket. The next shot I would like to talk about is the forehand. If you are right-handed, then you hit this shot if the ball approaches you on the right side. This is a one-handed shot. Most people favor this shot, and they'll usually run around it to hit it more often. To find this grip, find the grip to hit the shot, you place the racket on the ground, and you just pick it up, and that should be your forehand grip, which is called a semi-western grip, which most people use in today's game. The next shot I like to talk about is the backhand. This is the hardest shot for most recreational players. This shot can either be hit using one hand or two hands, but it's mostly, most people are taught to hit a two-hand backhand just because it's easier to teach. One-handers were way more popular back in the 80s, but it's lost a lot of popularity just because of how hard it is to hit, especially high balls, because it's a very awkward position to hit the ball. The next shot I'd like to talk about are volleys. This is the most underused shot at the recreational level. Most people are not taught how to volley very well. The shot is used for offense to put balls away at the net. I wish, personally myself, I was taught better to hit the shot because it's really used as a tactic to be a better offensive player. But, it's just not taught anymore. So I need to soon develop that shot more so I can translate in my own game. The last shot I like to talk about is the overhead. This is personally the most difficult shot in tennis. This is challenging because of timing and positioning. It's used to put balls away at the net, and most people, when they're on the defensive side, they will lob the ball high into the air, hoping that when you get this shot, that you'll miss it because it's such a challenging shot. And most people, especially on my team, struggle with the shot just because of the timing and the positioning it takes to hit the shot. I will now talk about some of the professionals who have perfected these shots. And first like to talk about the best serve, which is John Isner and Serena Williams. I'm sure some of you have heard of John Isner. He's a UGA alumni. He's 6'10", which allows him to really come down the ball in a serve. And his serve maxes out at around 140 miles an hour. And Serena Williams has the best serve on the female side. She has such great placement of the serve, and she serves it at around 120 miles an hour, which has allowed her to win so many Grand Slams. And I would like to show you a video of just how good Serena's serve is.
Century mark there, who kept ladies' ace records for a long year. That's a record. And they go for that one, she did 4 years ago. When you're on the game, I guess that they come and fight for both the first service games.
which is Rafael Nadal and Carolina Pliskova. Rafael Nadal hits it with a lot of topspin and hits it very deep in the court, which allows his opponent to not be very offensive. It makes it challenging for his opponent to get the ball back. Pliskova is 6'1", and she has long arms, which allows her to really hit the ball hard and get through her shot. The best backhand is Novak Djokovic and Venus Williams. Djokovic is honestly, his backhand is better than his forehand, and usually professionals pick on the opponent's backhand because it's the weaker shot. But opponents can't really find a weakness in Djokovic, which has allowed him to win so many Grand Slams. And Venus Williams probably has the best backhand to ever play in women's tennis, just because she generates so much power and has such great placement. The best volleys are Roger Federer and Carolina Pliskova. Roger Federer has had great success at Wimbledon, and if you don't know what that is, it is a grass tournament, and he comes to the net a lot, and when he hits volleys, he hits a lot of backspin on it. So the ball already doesn't bounce a lot as it is with topspin, and when you hit backspin, the ball literally just dies when it hits the ball. And Caroline Garcia has the best volleys in the women's tour because she plays a lot of doubles, and it really translates into her singles game. I'd like to show you a video of Roger Federer's volleys.
Maybe. Sticky minded. Sticky minded.
The players I've showed you are some of the greatest to ever pick up a racket. And the reason for this is that they become so proficient at one shot that they can use this as a weapon and really try and use it to their advantage. I hope from this presentation that I've interested you in playing tennis. Tennis is a fun sport that everyone can play. It's a great form of exercise. It's not very expensive. And it's easy to pick up on the rules. And thank you all for listening to my presentation.
Thank you, Matthew. Next up, our next presenter is going to be Madison Harper, Madison, America. Ladies and
Good morning. Today I'm going to be talking about if women can play on a man's sport. How many of y'all think that a man can compete on a man's sport? How many of you don't think they can? Well, I'm here to tell you why they can. My main points are that women are just as strong as men. The lack of opportunity for a woman. There's a lack of opportunity for women, and a real life story of a girl that made it on a college football. Many people think that women aren't strong enough to be able to compete with guys. While it may be true that men are genetically stronger, taller, faster on average than women, some sports not all about that. In sports like sailing, for example, physical ability does not matter for performance. Skill is the main attribute to this in many other sports. Some more examples of sports that rely on skill and technique are bowling, darts, archery, and shooting. In the Summer Olympics, there is a sport called equestrian, which is horse riding, in case some of y'all didn't know. In this sport, both men and women compete with each other as a team to win individual and team medals. This shows that both men and women can compete together and not have individual teams. Table tennis is another example of this sport. There would be more women joining athletic teams, but because of low opportunities, they don't. There is a huge lack of encouragement and opportunities for women to compete with men. Due to the lack of opportunities, there are few parts of the world that have women playing, resulting in a low talent pool. Men have this idea in their heads that women are fragile and not aggressive enough to be able to compete with them. This, however, is not true. Women are just as strong, intelligent, and capable as men. Many universities have more money to give to the male athletes than women athletes. Women have a disadvantage when it comes to competing at a collegiate level. Most women train their whole lives to be able to play at the next level, just like men, but few get the chance because of lack of funding. The lack of encouragement and opportunities does not stop this very special and talented young lady from following her dreams. This is Tony Harris. Tony Harris beat the odds of being able to play football at a collegiate level. Tony plays for Central Methodist University in the state of Missouri as a free safety. After being kicked off her high school football team for being a female, she did not let that stop her. Her coach said that the reason that he kicked Harris off the team was because football was a man's sport. After being told that, Harris went to the school board and signed a paper that basically made her promise that she would not sue the school if she got injured while playing football. During her freshman year of college at the University of Toledo, where she intended on being a walk-on at, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She essentially lost half her body weight. She went from weighing 170 pounds to weighing 90. When Harris fully recovered, she played her remainder of her eligibility at Central Methodist, where she was treated as one of the boys because she refused to let them treat her any differently on and off the team. And I have some of her highlights. worked hard and earned her spot on the team. She proved to everyone that a girl can play in a man's sport if you work hard enough and never give up. If a woman wants to play in a man's team, then she can. She just has to work hard enough and put her mind to it. Hopefully this speech will encourage more women to get out there on the field and join the men.
I don't know if I mentioned it before, but when my great niece was in middle school, she was allowed to play on the football team, but really she track, track program. And so she was a running back. No one could catch her. She was good. She was good. And now she is in college. She's a freshman year at East Tennessee University. She's done a full track scholarship. They allow her to do this. The next is just a little paint.
Okay, so from personal request from Dr. Moss, I'm going to be talking about the different branches of the military, what you have to go through in order to become a certain member of each branch, rank it from highest to lowest, and give you personal details of what I had to go through in boot camp. So there are a lot of difference of them. There's 5 in total, 6 if you want to count the Coast Guard or National Guard own thing, which is the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and the Coast Guard. A lot of them, one thing you'll find most about veterans or active duty service members is that we like to play jokes with each other all the time. Like we'll call the Marines a bunch of jarheads, they'll call airmen like myself the cheer force and all that stuff. But all in all, every branch cannot survive without the other. And this has been proven ever since World War II came to an end. So first, I'll talk about the Army. The Army was created on June 14th in 1776. And it was created by George Washington to unite the 13 colonies to help stop the British. It's the second oldest branch in the military. And in order to become a soldier, basically, you have to go through 10 weeks of basic training, and there are 3 phases you have to go through. once you complete all that and you get through boot camp, you get your MOS, which is what we call our jobs. And if you want to be strike or higher, there's some advanced training that you have to go through. You have to go through like another 62 weeks, sometimes even 2 years, to achieve some of the higher position jobs like rangers and paratroopers and all that. This is a little clip just to show you how the Army boot camp is.
David Perdue was exonerated.
Don't care about it.
Ethics officials said he followed the rules. No wonder fact.
Don't care about politics. Yeah. So as you can see, what their whole purpose is to break you down emotionally and to break you down physically so they can rebuild you back up. This is so when you actually do go into combat, you don't hesitate at the moment of hesitation. You won't get fazed by loud noises, and you'll always stay focused and always ahead of your task. According to every other branch in the military, I would say this is probably fourth hardest. It's I would say third, honestly, between 3 and 4, just because a lot of the requirements is all physical based. Then you'll have the most hardcore of all the 5 branches, the Marines. They're stationed in Paris Island, and their basic training is basically 12 to 14 weeks. And they were created also during the Revolutionary War. And their first mission was actually to assault a fort that a bunch of the Britain colonies were holding, ammunition and guns and all that. And they successfully did that and gave the troops to the 13 colonies troops, and that's what basically helped them have an edge and the whole thing. They actually have an advanced training too to become special ops. These can also roughly range from around a year and a half, maybe 2, maybe a few months, just depends. They are the best foot infantry that the military has. And here's a little clip of just what they go through. Yeah, so the Marines, all these branches basically do the same thing, bring you down, build you back up. The Marines, they're more focused on team exercises. So basically, you can't succeed without the other person. All the other branches have this too. This is one that they heavily focus on. Um, and this is the hardest basic training that any other service member will go through. Then we have the Navy. The Navy was not the very first land or sea-based military branch. That was actually the Coast Guard, and the Navy was considered its own branch 8 years later. It was created on October 13th, 1775. It just contained 2 vessels, and they were tasked to hold the British from transporting munition and stores to the Brits in America. Their basic training is set like 7 weeks at Great Lakes and Chicago, Illinois. And I'd say it's probably the second hardest to complete. The Navy is considered one of the greatest fighting force in the world, and it houses the best troops in the entire world, actually, the Navy SEALs, which stands for sea, land, or sea, air, and land. Their basic training is about 52 weeks. Then they'll have another 24 weeks that they have to do on advanced training. And people who try out to become a Navy SEAL, 99% fail. Only 1% of the entire world are able to become a Marine. That's how difficult their training is. Here is a small clip on how
Writing's not that
the Navy basic training is.
This sentence is grammatical.
Oh yeah, little side note, all of y'all who like hair, this is what you're gonna have to go through if you wanna go be a soldier in any branch.
From the first day of RTC through graduation day, when new sailors board the bus to depart, recruits find themselves in a world of activity. Every recruit entering the Navy today will remember RTC as their introduction to Navy life.
Yeah. So that's basically the Navy's. Sorry, it wasn't more intense clips like the last two. I kind of like rushed that one. But the Navy is basically the only reason why America has never been invaded, because the Navy consists of 16, like over 10 aircraft carriers, which probably cost around 200 million. They have at least 30 subs and all sorts of frigates, and our Navy's just ridiculous. They're great. And this is my branch, the one I joined, the United States Air Force. It is the easiest branch to complete, but it is because we focus more on the mental state, and we focus more on education and engineering rather than brute force. You basically have to go through 8.5 weeks at the Nellis Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. And they actually have some, despite what everyone thinks, they actually have some special operation forces. They basically, they basically do what every other special forces do. They go on secret missions. Paratroopers are one of the great ones. And here's just a little clip, and I'll give you a little personal story. My job in the Air Force was actually a trail runner during basic training. Worst job you're ever gonna have in your life. You think working at McDonald's sucks?
Welcome to Lac
Don't be a
County
child
Air
runner.
Force, the gateway to the Air Force. Upon arrival, recruits are met by their military training instructors, or MTIs. They are responsible for the overall health, safety, and training of all recruits placed under their charge. Each recruit is now given the distinct title of trainee.
Some reason somebody sent you here for whatever reason, they expect us to work a miracle. Guess what? We are miracle workers, son. I will not. And anyone walking in my center aisle. Yes, sir.
So your job is pyramid to follow their instruction, do what you're told to do, when you're told to do it, and in the manner that they tell you to do.
Let's go get there.
Military training instructors are trained professionals.
Yeah. So basically, they basically just want y'all to follow orders. They won't demand to anything physical for you. What we always had to do was at 5:45, we would always wake up. We'd have 5 minutes to shave, shit, shower, brush our teeth, do whatever, and we had to go and run for 2 hours, and then we would finally get breakfast. And when we go into breakfast, lunch, or dinner, they have these things called chow runners. This is what I was. And I got so good at it that I actually had to train other fellow trainees. This is basically how you get lunch or dinner or breakfast.
We are fascinated. Launch rockets to Mars. We also do this.
You're not allowed to look up. You're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to do anything. You do one thing out of line, you'll have 3 of them swarming around you and getting in your face. You always have to take your backpack off, put it on your seat, and you have to stand there for about 5 seconds, and then you're able to sit down, and then you're finally able to eat. Once you finish doing that, you repeat the process. You can't get up and chew while you're moving. They'll scold you for that. You have to basically get your book bag on. You have to stand up the seat for 3 seconds again, and then you have to go and push the chair back in, and then you have to do basic military commands. And yeah. I made that mistake once. So basically, a child runner, your whole job is, for example, if Miss Moss was a officer, I would have to walk up to her and you would have to repeat these lines. Male training paying reports this order. The first training for flight 693 is prepared to enter the dining facility from the south side. Then you would have to go back out and you would have to relay the same message to your whole squadron. Flight 693 prepared to enter the dining facility from the south side. All key personnel fall out, fall in, fall out, fourth element. Everyone would go proceeding, sir. You would walk back in, and then you would walk around and give the same mission report statement to let them know that they arrived. So, ma'am, flight 693 has entered the dining facility from the south side. They would say seat them. You'd say seat them. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Then you would look out at the clock that's above their wall. You would do an about face, and then you would march all the way back around. And then you would go to each specific table, and you have to do this in order to actually seat them. And as a child runner, you're the last one to eat and the least amount of time to eat. You have about 10 to 15 minutes to eat. And it takes roughly around 7 to seat all of them. And the last branch is the Coast Guard. It is actually the oldest, well, one of the oldest. It's probably like the third oldest. Like I said, they were the first people to actually be considered a fleet-based branch, and the Navy didn't come afterwards until 8 years later. Their basic training is about 8 weeks. It is the shortest out of all of them. The Coast Guard has also 5 special operations that you can go through in order to become a special operations soldier. And this is their training.
Welcome to Training Center Cape May, and welcome to Coast Guard Recruit Training. You are about to begin the most difficult job interview of your life. There are no guarantees here. If you do not meet or exceed every standard of our program, you will not graduate from Training Center Cape May, and you will not earn the privilege or the right to serve as a Coast Guardsman. Is that understood? You truly are the best volunteers our nation has to offer. We know you have what it takes, but over the next 8 weeks, we are going to test you to ensure you have the desire to join us in our service. We are going to push you mentally. We are going to test you physically. And we are going to stretch the emotional limits. You are going to face seemingly impossible tasks. We are going to test your desire to serve, and we are going to work to prepare you for the rigors of service in the United States Coast Guard. We know that if you won't quit here, you won't quit out there. When your lives are on the line, your shipmates' lives are on the line, and the lives of those you are supposed to protect are on the line as well. We have to ensure that you are ready to serve as our shipmates, and that you are ready to protect, defend, save, and shield our nation and our waterways from all who seek to do us harm. I hope that you have prepared yourself for training.
Yeah. And that's basically it. If you want to join any of these branches, want to look more information up about them, you can go to these websites. And even though like now the military is getting a lot of scrutiny, saying that we spend too much on it and all that stuff, just keep in mind that basically these are the reasons why you're able to, for example, say that women are able to play different sports because you have that right as an American and that's your opinion. You can't do that in other countries, especially countries that hate America, like Russia, North Korea, China. You can't do all that. You can't talk crap about the government. You can't talk bad about the commander-in-chief or whatever. These are basically the men and women who basically give their lives so you can have a fulfilled life. Thank you, and that's it.
Thank you, Norman, for giving us a good update on the military, and I want to thank you again for your service to our country. And let's give our other presenter a round of applause. Good job, everybody. Okay, on Canvas, you will find an assignment that will help us to close out chapter 15. There are 10 review questions that you need to answer and go ahead and post on Canvas. You see where you will post that. Then you need to read chapter 16, speaking to persuade. As I mentioned the other day, through the persuasive speech, you will be selecting and choosing, say, a nonprofit organization and a charity of choice that you will be advocating for. As we continue to move through this pandemic and everything like that, there are a lot of organizations that need volunteers, they need funding, they need a lot of things. And so you might want to identify a nonprofit organization or charity as that home that you want to bring us up to date about, and then what they need. And so you'll be advocating for that. and begin the process of working on chapter 15 review questions, and then chapter 16, we'll have a discussion on Friday. And even on Friday, if you want me to go ahead and approve your charity or organization, let me know, I can do that. Are there any questions before we end class today? Hearing none, stay safe, have a good day. All right, have a good day. Oh, yeah.